Hello, 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 hello. Right. Glad to be back. Glad to be at home this week. Glad to be with you all. I've been moving fast. I ain't even had a time to change the message for the week, but I'll change it. I ain't even lying. I've been getting a lot of sleep in since I've been home. Savannah took a lot of emotional energy out of me, and outside of think what is a full, I mean, it's the eclipse and a full moon coming up, so that definitely has energy and people's energy lit, including mine. So if you've been having some restless nights, and that's how it shows up for me. When I'm having little restless nights, waking up every hour, hour and a half, something of that nature. But if you experience something like that, man, it is definitely in the stars at this point. So we're not gonna blame the stars, but we definitely do know they are helping to affect the energies of right now. But like I said, glad to be home. Savannah was good. Savannah was good to me. Uh, um, got me some pralines, and I have been thinking about pralines for a minute. And I thought I was gonna have to go to New Orleans to get the pralines, but didn't have to. Because I was in Savannah. I outside of the pralines. Had some hotel issues, but last week's shows on the road weren't that bad. I actually enjoyed them. And slowly working on changing this because at some point this setup we're gonna come on one show and this setup's gonna be totally different. But I got me some new lights going on too. I know you can't necessarily see it, but this is one of those wand lights. I'm actually excited about it because it's supposed to be works on sound or whatever. But I don't know if you can see all the colors. I gotta turn it a little bit, then maybe you can see them and do all types of stuff. Came with two. Excited to have it part of the setup. Pew, 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 pew. But anyway, just to have a little extra light going on the table. We dealing with purple today. So don't have a lot of different things to talk about today. There you go. You came just in time to sprinkle a little bit of hate on the track. I won't have a ton of things to talk about personally. Why I give y'all a little brief update and stuff like that. But I definitely want to spend most of the time on the homework. So hopefully we can get us some comments in the chat, and if somebody's feeling bold enough, you might be able to join. If you're on Facebook, the link is on in the Facebook chat. I need to put it on. Well, I actually don't even know how to do it on Instagram, but I need to try to put it on YouTube so people watching on YouTube can join when they want to. But I'm going to do a little update first, then we'll get back on the homework because last week we just got to do a brief overview, and I really want to go into depth with some of them to show how much I thought about them, and to actually be a model for how you should think about your rich life and your love life. So, this week has been. Let me see. I took notes. I always keep my little handy dandy notebook. This big sheet is for the rich life, poor life. I mean, not rich life, poor life. I don't know why I keep thinking poor, but I got to be careful um, about your language because with this energy right now, you be careful. Things are manifesting just because you thought about it. Well, it ain't the manifesting because you thought about it, but you've done the work. Foundations for a lot of things have been set this week. So this week for me, presented two. Well, I want to call them. I call them challenges, but they presented two areas of contemplation for me. You know what I mean? After you do all this work and a certain level of healing, you definitely have to put yourself in situations to be able to practice what you to be able to practice what you have learned. And sometimes the situations make you aware of skills or talents you haven't used in a while, and it can be a humbling experience. So the first thing that was a challenge for me, which is funny because I go live every Tuesday and Thursday, and I've been in front of large groups of people before, but I haven't been in front of a large group of people in a long time. I lost track of how many years it had been. And this week we wound up having one of our largest sessions that I've been a part of, and it was 213 people in that in that session. And if for real, it was humbling in a sense because even though I do this, you feel like it's like riding a bike. You know what I mean? I've been in front of groups of people for various things. So once you put me in front of them, it's gonna be like riding a bike and I'll be good. But actually it showed me how out of practice I have been. You know what I mean? And it's funny because I think about how you can be out of practice with dating, how you can be out of practice with creativity, but I actually wasn't thinking about how out of practice I was with speaking in front of large groups. And although we go live, generally on most of the shows, like we get views, but the views generally come after the show. So maybe it's not a good time, but we have our fair family that be, I mean, we have our familiar family that's on here every week. And then we have those people who come almost every week. So we have a little pocket of people that allows me to practice the skill set, but it's still not necessarily large groups at one time. I hadn't been in front of 213 people in a minute. And it was wild because it reminded me of when I first started. I modeled in undergrad. And I'll never forget my first modeling show. I had never been in front of this many people. That this was my first time being in front of this many people, and it was probably, eh, I say for what we were doing. So it was probably, man, it was easily over 1,000 people in that auditorium that day. And I ain't never modeled or anything like that. So I'm supposed to get up here and act like I know what I'm doing professionally. But I was so excited because my first scene was a tree. So I just had to stand there like a tree the whole time. But the wildest thing about that was my anxiety and my nervousness was through the roof. If anybody could touch me, my pants were loose enough where you couldn't kind of see, but my legs was shaking like the leaves on that tree. I had so much nervousness, and we had practiced hard, so I had confidence that I'd be able to do it. But I was glad that I was a tree because I had the opportunity to work off my nervousness and find myself in an energy where I can have confidence in my skill set because we practice, period, period, period. So going back into doing this session, this training or whatever, I'm actually thankful that I was placed in that position again because it wasn't necessarily me doing the training. I had to facilitate, but even in facilitating at this level, I'm that guy who's on the Zoom just smiling and cheesing and stuff to try to make sure I keep people engaged. So for me, it was like being the tree again, and it was good because it allowed me to get perspective on how far I have come and how much work I need to do again to get back into the comfort of talking in front of large groups of people. And yeah, so it wound up showing me one other way that my job is going to help me in this healing process because it's going to put me in the position to speak in front of large groups of people outside of this. You know what I mean? In live situations, speak to large groups of people. And it's going to give me an avenue to be able to practice my skill set a little more. And, we're doing this and you all get to see me grow, but I say a lot, you know what I mean a lot, a lot, you know what I mean a lot. So that's because I haven't been I talk to small groups of people for the most part. I'm a leader, so teams and stuff like that. But being able to talk in front of large groups is gonna give me the practice where I won't say so many and things like that. So it definitely was perspective and a humbling experience because speaking in front of groups is not like riding a bike. You know what I mean? You will still have, hey, we got us a like, so I appreciate that like. I appreciate that follow. I probably can't even say the name, but I appreciate you. How you doing on Twitch? Yeah, appreciate you, Twitch. But it's gonna give me practice in speaking in front of large groups of people. Then the other thing is, I've been talking about dating. Uh oh. don't know if that's good or bad. We done got found, but I don't even know if these people are real. It's going crazy, so I'm definitely gonna have to check Twitch at some point. But anyway, we getting a little action this time. Um, I know these people aren't real. I'm sorry. Hey, we getting there, people. Now we got the bots done found us. So we moved up. We moved up. Jesus Christ. Okay, maybe this is part of that claiming thing that I said. We want more viewers. We want more people watching. Maybe I talked too much about my job, and now we about to get 213 people here. But anyway, maybe I need to turn that down because it's kind of loud. So I have my monitor is a TV, so some of that extra sound probably come through, and it might be a little feedback. So I just need to turn that down a little bit. But I appreciate you. Appreciate you. Now, the other thing that was presented as challenging to me is to presented a challenge for me this week was to really take time to think about where I am in this dating process. So I know I talked to you all and mentioned it before, where I would say I'm in a place where I think my heart is open enough where I can, where I really want to date and take dating, and it's not like I wasn't taking dating serious. Because I just kind of tip my toes in the water and meet people, and if I meet somebody, I chill out, and you know what I mean. Just now, taking dating serious, specifically in these ways. So this week, the one of the main things that I was thinking about that we talked about last week is how the relationship with my father actually affects the way I think about dating. You know what I mean? And I'm not even gonna lie. I thought about that, and I thought, and I'm going to have to do a little more thinking because listen, Liberty, this stuff never ever works, but today it is working. So, and I'm going to say it's because of you, because when you liked it that one time on you liked it on Thursday night. So I was mobile. You like that mobile, it's been shown ever since you liked that mobile thing. So you doing all this likes and follows, man. Send me some stars. Give me that bread. But anyway, so I thought about that. I thought about how it shapes my views of dating. You know what I mean? But I still gotta do a little bit of thinking because most of the time my relationship with my pops was, I used him in some aspects. I wanted to be like him because he was strong, but most of the time I used him as an example of, oh, well, I don't know if I got rated by a big streamer. Well, I hope so if that's going to benefit me, but I see we got some strange people clocking. I just see a bunch of different names on there. So hopefully you telling the truth. I appreciate it. So if I got rated by a big streamer, we appreciate you and tune in every week then because it's Tuesdays and Thursdays at 7 p.m. every week like clockwork, except for when I'm out of town doing conferences. But even as a matter of fact, join the show. We do live readings. You can come on here and get your energy read um, at any point. Oh, thanks. He rated me on message off mode. Okay, cool. Thanks. I hope well, thanks for clearing that up for me. Ah, okay. So loads of people. Well, thanks for clearing that up. So maybe are you the one who did that? Because this is an interesting name. So why are I'm about to have a whole conversation with you. So yeah, I don't know. These don't seem like real people, but I hope so. Because these names are like QVQ. Y'all see it on the screen? All right. Well, thank you. I'm going to keep on jaw jacking then if I got 370 viewers right now. I appreciate y'all joining. I guess I just talked about. Okay. All right. I'll go check the video. I appreciate that. You know what? Maybe you need to come on every week and you can be a Twitter, a Twitch. You can be a Twitch moderator because I stream on this one thing, so I can't moderate the way I want to. But anyway, so I was thinking about that, and I still got to think about it no for a little bit longer because I was using my father as an example of what not to be, even though there were things about him that I do like, and regardless on whether I wanted to be or not, some of my genes are still like him. So I still have some of his ways to navigate dating, and I have to really take some time to think about it. But when I start thinking about taking dating seriously in this healing process, I really have to think about where I am, right? And the first thing that I wound up thinking about was, am I really ready, or am I really ready to have people in my space regularly? You know what I mean? So, I mean, frequently, because right now I might have a visitor once a week or something like that. Not even once a week, but not that often because I don't have company. I spend most of my time making sure I'm doing the healing on myself. You know what I mean? And then, of course, I do the Reiki and I do sessions with other people and stuff like that. But for the most part, I've been intentionally using that self love to help myself, right? So, um, I really had to think about on if I'm really ready to have people in my space, my physical space regularly, which is something unique. I mean, not unique, but something that I just have to check at some point. And then the next thing that I wound up thinking about is, which creates a whole set of emotions, is this idea of sharing my emotional vulnerability. And it's wild because we do that every week on this show, right? But doing it on this show, being live, it gives me a certain level of anonymity. You know what I mean? So because it's not real people right there, it's not a real I can't touch and feel you all. Although we participate and we join and we talk to each other and all those things, but we build relationships in that safe space, it's still a safe space because when I do this, it's just me talking to me. You know what I mean? So actually sharing my emotional vulnerability with someone else is creates a new set of emotions for me. You know what I mean? Because I'm at a new place in my thought process because all the work that we've done on this healing process, right? So I'm at a new place in my own dating, and it's a certain level of vulnerability that I hadn't experienced in a long time, right? And then, like I said, it creates this feeling that I can't even quite put the words on, right? Because what it winds up doing is creating, it's like this feeling that's kind of like the tickle you get from anxiety. You know what I mean? Without the anxiousness. You know what I mean? Because anxiety comes with this one, it has a very specific feeling, but it also comes with anxiousness. So I get like the little tickle of anxiety. And then what's wild, because normally as I go out in here into dating or things of that nature, it's I have a certain level of skepticism. You know what I mean? So I'm like, show me and prove, and you know what I mean? Because life and experiences are still like, I gotta see some proof, blah, blah, blah. I have to see the actions and the words must match. You know what I'm talking about? Guaranteed. And what I really realized was probably going on, and the best way to describe the feeling that it is created because of where we are in our healing process is I am very much aware on how emotionally exposed I am, right? And it's almost akin to like that the naivety that you feel as a child. So when it comes to dating and my emotional vulnerability, my emotional, for lack of better words, rawness, it is like a child. So I'm aware of all of this, and then it does create a certain level of fear. But fear in the sense that I got this energy back. I got this reconnected enough to my child where I have this innocence and trust when it goes into dating and relationships, right? But the fear that presents now is when I got into dating and relationships before, I was like, well, I hope these experiences don't change who I am, but they did, right? So the fear does come into place where if I get back out there, will it create the same change that it did before? You know what I mean? Not that I'm necessarily going to experience the same outcomes because, like I said, we've done some work where even our choices on who we would date would be a ton different. You know what I mean? It's going to be a bunch different. So that alone would let you think that the outcomes are going to be a lot different as well. You know what I mean? But there's still that level of fear of the unknown, the possible outcome that I have to deal with as it relates to dating and healing and practicing the skills that I've worked on in the healing process, or the skills that we have worked on because a lot of you have been here for a while, right? And we've been going it from day one. So, and that's true. So those were the challenges for me this week. The realization and the humbling experience that I definitely still need a little more practice getting in front of large groups of people because I haven't done it in a while. And then the assessment, and the second one is the assessment on where I really am and that I'm aware of how emotionally vulnerable or exposed I am, and the fear of what could happen if I travel down the same path as I did before, right? So that's pretty much the wrap up for the week. And now we're gonna go back to the homework. So I hope you remember the homework and you got some comments. So Liberty, this is your time to shine because I know you on there. And you need to put one of your things in there first. So if you don't know, what we've been doing for homework is this idea of describing what we want our rich life to look like and describing what we want our love life to look like. Speaking with a friend, she was telling me how there's this this mind state or this frame of reference where you can describe or your rich life can look exactly however you want it to look, right? Where people might say you want to, like, if your rich life includes you buying Jordans every week, then that's what you want. You know what I mean? For me, it's definitely going to be a little bit of polos because I love polos. Period. 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 We're gonna start with the rich life because we can get through that. Well, at this point, we'll probably revisit it, but this side, it's more about emotion. So we're gonna try to get through the rich life first. I only got about 7 things. Although that sounds like a little bit, but yeah. So give me at least one of your rich well, depending on what it is, give me the one that you think is most important as a dynamic energy that you need to have in your rich life. So, like I was saying, in my rich life, one of the more important things that I would like to have when I describe how my rich life looks is that sense of wholeness. And as versus, what was it? Healing. So I want healing in my love life, but in my rich life, I want wholeness. And wholeness is like the experiences never happened. You know what I mean? And healing is moving forward. So it does moving forward as though the experiences don't hamper you. And rich life, the wholeness is just never have moving on and like you never had those experiences at all. And for me, I would like that rich life to be able to establish a a lifestyle for me where you cannot tell, like as now where I make it look easy, but you cannot tell where I came from. You would not know that to graduate from college I had to be homeless. You know what I mean? You don't think about stuff like that or where I came from, just period on the wrong thing. I just want to be able to have a life that reflects one of wholeness. Like some of that stuff that never, ever, ever, ever happened. And then I would like for my rich life to have this idea of secure and stable. Right. So when I say this, I'm in a position where I have security. You know what I mean? It's not like I'm starving or begging. Life has been good to me. My career's been good to me. God has been good to me. The ancestors been good to me. The energy has been good to me. So I'm not starving or anything by any means. So I do have some sense of security, but I would like a larger sense of security even when it comes to fiscal. And I would like a certain sense of stability. In my life is like, for example, okay. So I used to say I want to make my life recession proof. And I did. So when everybody winds up losing jobs for the most part, I was not losing my job. So, but the thing about it was where I want now outside of recession proof is I want to be economy proof. It doesn't matter what's going on in the world. I'm going to keep getting that bread. So that's a sense of stability I want. So like even now, because of where I work, if the government doesn't figure out, well, because of the work I do, if the government doesn't figure out a budget, or if they didn't figure out a budget, I couldn't work. I wouldn't get paid. That's no That's not stable enough for me. You know what I mean? Although the position is secure, it does give a sense of instability, and I want that. Um. And then I'd also want a sense of longevity. And not saying that it has to last for 100 years, but I needed to build a solid foundation, my rich life, a solid foundation that will speak towards longevity. When it was built so it could last for generations. You get what I'm saying? So that's how one thing that I would like. So we have Liberty Brown in the comments, and she said one thing that she would want in her rich life is to desire comfort, stability, and creativity. What is comfort? So this is how we normally describe our things, right? But one of the purposes that we want to do with this homework is describe what each one of those things are. So for me, I would want to know, what does comfort look like for you? What does stability look like for you? And does creativity look like for you? Because as you're trying to work towards this goal of this rich life or manifest it, you want to make sure you're clear on what these things look like, because you might get comfort, right? And comfort could be a soft bed in a burning house. But that's not quite what you want, right? So you don't want a soft bed in a burning house. You want comfort. And what does that comfort mean? So we're going to give Liberty a little time to type those in the chat. And anybody else, if you've done the homework or if you have an answer where you would like to share something that is important to have in your rich life, don't hesitate. Put it in chat. So the other thing that I would like is a diverse portfolio. So when I say that, like, I want millions of dollars in the stock market and not me losing it, but I'm just consistently earning this money. And one of the reasons I say that is because a lot of times when we talk about generational wealth, we wind up having every generation trying to build wealth in the same avenue, right? But I'm always one of those people who feel like if you banging on the right, I'm a bang on the left, and soon enough, we're gonna knock that wall down, because instead of both of us banging on the right, and then we still gotta go to the left. So in my family, I have family who have worked hard to have real estate, right? And in my rich life, what most people would do is follow that path of real estate. But I feel like they've done that. You know what I mean? And in their real estate, because they've done so well in that, they do have a little bit into the stock market, but not what I'm talking about. So I feel like we have the foundation for generational wealth in real estate. We need the foundation for generational wealth in another avenue. So then when my children come, or their children come, or the next generation after me, They have real estate and stocks, right? So I definitely would like a diverse portfolio of stocks and bonds with hella money, millions of dollars. Let's just keep it real, millions of dollars in the account. So then the next thing that I would like, and it was wild because as many times as I said that I was looking for a wife or I wanted to be married or something like that, I never really said it in a sense where I'm like, I desire that or I envisioned that or, you know what I mean? It was something that I wanted, but I don't know how deeply I felt it in my spirit. But as you can hear me talk, my energy changes a little bit as I think about this idea of marriage, right? And I'm open to the idea because to me, marriage is the union, excuse me, that God brings together. Whether you believe in God or not, universal energy brings together. So if I meet you, we connect, that is the union. That is the marriage, like carrots, celery, and onions. You know what I mean? The holy trinity of cooking. It is the marriage. The marriage begins on day way. So I'm open for that. But I definitely want a level of commitment and a level of bonding that is considered a marriage. I definitely would like that in my wife. And then the last thing that I got right now, because I'm going to think a little bit more, and I've talked about this, but I want it to be a little bit clearer. I want to be in a position to pay my wife, right? So I have this idea while I'm building businesses and stuff like that. So I generally would rather my lady not work for somebody else. She's gonna work, just gonna work for me. But in that process, what winds up happening is she works for the business, you know what I mean? But the business isn't at a point to be able to pay her the salary, like pay her salary. And I want to have my wife, she gonna work for the family unit and I want to be able to pay her a salary. So Liberty said, simply put, comfort would be a stress free lifestyle, not worrying about robbing Peter to pay Paul and etc. Which we all understand that. So as you're thinking about comfort, you're thinking about comfort in the way that you in a fiscal sense, in a financial sense. But is there another way of comfort that is just as important as the excuse me, as the fiscal aspect? So like for me, one thing that'll be very important to me, and you know this, is going to be a sense of safeness. You know what I mean? And that is just as important to me as comfort. So she says, I want to be able to live a life that I can have time to devote to my creative explorations. To me, the joys in life come from art. Okay, so that makes sense. That's a little bit clearer. So that's your creative. That I like that. The creative is very good. Yeah, that's it. To have the live a life that you can have the time to devote to your creative explorations. The only thing that I'd say outside of that is make sure you take a little time to think about what that time looks like. You know what I mean? So for me, when I got to the point where I was having this conversation, I was like, I want to have enough time where my wants, my life, my all that stuff is first and work is second. You know what I mean? And that's where I'm at now. So I'm thankful for that. But think about what that time looks like what time availability is. Does that include working a job? Does that include not having to work a job? Just being clear on what that time availability looks like. So for myself, gonna slide into doop, 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 doop. I'm gonna slide into my love life. And as we talked about last week, which I feel like is kind of self-explanatory, so I'm definitely not going to go in too deep on that. Is um, hmm, I would like to be in a love life that does not have people who hurt me. And when I think of love life, as we're talking about this, it's not dating life. So, love life is relationships with your parents, relationships with your children, relationships with your friends, relationships, period, is how you show your love. And a lot of times we box love into that romantic aspect, and or we limit it with platonic. And yeah, it is either or, but then sometimes it's a little blurred. But I'm not putting it in the box of just relationships in the sense of dating. We're thinking about our love life and all relationships, because some of the most difficult relationships or loss of relationships to get past are friendships. You know what I mean? So that is the caveat. We're thinking about that. And I want to be in a place where people don't hurt me. And the example that I gave, like when I worked this job, in my last job, I was executive director. And it was a woman that worked with me that used to say every day she prayed for me to have a job, this job, you know what I mean, to get promoted to executive director. And right after she put the period on that sentence, she go out in the street and tell a lie about me purposefully. You know what I mean? Which was crazy. So I don't want to be in a dynamic like that where I even have to watch that energy. I just want to rather be in the energy where people are 100% authentic to me. All right. And then I thought of one that is, well, I told you before, I do want life, a love life of healing, which is moving forward so the past events and experiences don't hamper you. I want to be able to produce that for myself. I want to be able to share that healing pathway with others. I want to create a safe place where we come and discuss these things. You know what I mean? Where we feel safe enough, even though it exposes us, it gives us the opportunity to build our courage. You know what I mean? Which is very different than bravery. And we talked about that during the infinite game. So we're going to work on our courage, right? Right. Because it's not necessarily physical harm that we're facing. And even though it's emotional, it can be just as detrimental. But I definitely want a space of healing. One that I thought of that I thought was very important, I put on the big sheet, is I want a love that does that thing that makes me consistently smile. So when you think about that, I want to think about in terms of when people want to build a relationship with you, they will do certain things that they know you like, right? But then once they get a certain level of comfort or once they get familiar, those things may not happen, right? So for me, perfect. Let's say you a person that wants to date me. The easiest way to get me, no lie, and I'd have fell for this trick so many times. A woman had to tell me this is what she did for me to figure out this is what was going on. But I like pictures. And I am one of those send me a picture type dudes, right? Right. So that's me. They talk bad about it. They talking about me, right? So I don't be a creeper and ask for them, but I do like the consideration, which is one of the things I want in my love life, and the thoughtfulness that comes along with, hey, I just sent you a picture 'cause I was thinking about you, right? So, and I want a person who recognizes that about me, or not a person, I want relationships, a love life that recognizes that about me. And those people remain consistent in the things that make me feel safe. That word, right? Consistency is something that allows me to feel safe, which is something that's very important in my love life. I want a space that is safe in all of my relationships, whether it be work or whether it be friendships or anything. And it's crazy because I'm going through friendship challenges now where it wasn't, the consistency was crazy and it's just not a safe place. So you gotta let that go. And then work, like I just told you, I worked a job where people be like, I pray for you to have this position, and then go out the street and tell some sort of lie. So I want a place to feel safe, to be able to function at my highest levels without having to worry about someone misinterpreting misinterpreting that. You know what I mean? Someone I like to be in a space where there is healthy communication, right? And one of the biggest points of healthy communication is active listening. I think a lot of times when we talk about communication, we spend so much time on being able to speak. And we do the energy readings, they go to pendulum. We do the energy readings on the throat all the time. So it's really about speaking. But I think one of the things we need to do a little more of is listening when it comes to healthy communication, and listen in a way to seek understanding of the opposing perspective, right? So that to me is an example of healthy communication, and I would like that we can disagree, right? But when I speak, which is another one, I would like to feel heard. And that is a person actually listening to understand me, being able to relay back that understanding and actually add, like we said, that tool to their repertoire. So now they have that tool in their repertoire. So one of the comments again on the love life for the homework is: love life desires include understanding, open and honest communication, friendship, growth, and memories. Okay, so what memories are you talking about? Because you can definitely we all have memories in our love life and our relationship life. But some of those memories I'm sure we can do without. So I think you want to be a little more descriptive on memories. And also, so like we're talking about where you have open and honest communication, I put healthy. We want to be a little bit clearer on what open and honest actually looks like, because we have people in this world who are truth tellers, right? But they have no regard for the receiver. Those are the people like, I'm honest. I'm sorry, you can't take it the way it is. You will get on open and honest communication with them, but it is inconsiderate and it's not thoughtful of the receiver. So you definitely, when you say you want open and honest communication, you definitely want to be clear on what that looks like. So that's why I was saying one of the main things with healthy communication, open and honest communication, is listening, active listening. I want to be in a position to feel like I am being heard. And the next one, valued. I like my opinion to be valued. One thing that drives me crazy, someone ask me for my opinion and then do the total opposite. Oh, like, yo, listen, don't waste my brain power because you don't really know or you don't like to listen to guidance or direction. And it's wild how many people who can ask for guidance and direction and they're not going to listen to it at all. Those are the people who have learned the process. One of the things that we talk about on this show, and one of the reasons why we stay so emotionally available, is just being honest about that. Hold on one second. Excuse me. I'm drinking water. I love water. Colder the better. But value, be heard, valued. Hey, we're going through all that. Aware, considerate. Talked about longevity and unity. I like for us to look like a unified front. I don't even care, and it's crazy. Like, I want us to look like we believe in the same goal, we all have a shared mission to get to this goal, and we all support each other in the process of getting to this goal, whatever this goal may be. And like I said, you got to remember relationship. We talking about relationships as a whole. So even as for my people, I would like us to be able to be in a different position. You know what I mean? And I would like to be with a group of people. So, for example, one of the things that I would like differently is for a space for black males to be able to communicate their feelings open. We don't have a lot of safe places. So, one thing that I am is a part of a group, Strength and Brotherhood. And every Monday, we wind up being able to have a meeting and we have conversation. And every week, we get a new person. So, we're creating a space where the unity is on the forefront. You can see it. You don't even have to dig deeper, and you can be a part of it. And it really doesn't cost you anything nor take much effort. All you have to do is just pick up the phone. You dig? So I definitely will want a love of I'm looking at your memories of unity. Unity. We all working on the same goal. We all believe in that same goal. We all support each other in trying to reach that goal. All right. So that was pretty much it for this week. I definitely want to make sure I had the time to talk about the homework because normally we get to talk about a whole bunch of stuff. I ain't bring up no current events or none of that right now this time. But because I burn up our time when we get to the homework every week. So I want to make sure I dedicate this episode to the homework. And we did good. We stayed within the hour. Um Listen, I appreciate you sharing. Think a little bit more about the memories and stuff like that. Other people, as you join them, we'll be back next week. On Tuesdays for the live energy readings, and Thursdays we do book club. We are reading The Sentence. So you just sit back. The book club is to allow you to reconnect to some of your youth. And one thing, my background came from prenatal to 5 year olds. And one thing I know about that age group is they love to be read to. You know what I mean? They'll give you a book before you even finish a book. So that's the purpose of the book club. And if it's a book that you would like to hear, we probably still got like 100. We probably still got like 100 or 200 more pages left in that last one. But Thursday, we see Thursday. You can catch us on all the same things. You watch me on Twitch today, I'll still be on Twitch. You watch me on YouTube today, you can catch me on YouTube. You watch me on Instagram today, you catch me on Instagram. Well, Thursday nights I'm not on Instagram, but I'm on Facebox, and we call it Facebox from my old job. But I thank you. I appreciate your time. I appreciate you joining. All the new followers, I appreciate you following, and I hope you find something in this program that can help you. Check out my other pages so you can see some of the other videos. I know Twitch has an issue where Twitch has the tendency to delete your videos. So they delete them after a certain time, and I always forget to, yeah, save it so it actually be the video when it comes to my page. But see you next week. I appreciate your participation. Liberty, I appreciate you as always. Glad you did your homework. Anybody else you want to sell your homework with me, shoot me an inbox. I'll bring it up in the show. We can talk about some of the other things that people want. And I hope you like the pink today. Hope you like our new lights. And we're growing and showing. And I appreciate you again. And enjoy this food for your soul, my people. Thank you and good night.